4 months later. Hi, hello, see you back. I'm back with another tech video, and let me just say, this project has put me through the ringer for the last couple months. It's made me go absolutely bananas, bonkers, crazy. It was a rough one, and when you look at it from an outside perspective, you'd think it'd probably be one of the easiest ones. I mean, like, this happened. But no, this tiny little itty-bitty project doll. Look at the fingerprints. I was playing this all night long. It is rude. Do not look at the fingerprints, smudgies. Don't judge. This PSP 3000. Exhausted every little brain cell up here. This is a PSP 3000, and today's video was supposed to be how to reshell your PSP 3000 to whatever color you want, because this just did not come. I swore within the first 5 minutes of the video. Oh well. This did not come in this beautiful pearly pastel pink. No, it did not. It came in black. And it also came significantly more damaged than the eBay seller said it was. So that's kind of where this video comes in today. This is going to be a cohesive tutorial on how to reshell your PSP 3000, but also I'm going to run into every single road bump and hiccup possible that you guys probably won't run into, just because I got myself a very damaged PSP 3000. So in the midst of me reshelling, I did have to repair and replace some things within this PSP 3000 to make it work more optimally. And let's just say some of those repairs, I'm getting ahead of myself. You will see it in the video. So let's just hop in, starting at square one. Let's look at what this looked like before it got reshelled.
The first thing I want to preface before we get into building this is, off camera, I am very closely following a tutorial by The Repair Layer. This is a very good video. I'd honestly recommend it more than I recommend my own video. This guy is super smart, and I wouldn't have known any of this stuff without him. That tutorial will be linked down in the description below, of course. This is the PSP 3000 before the reshell, and it is actually my first ever PlayStation product. I did what I thought was a thorough testing of the entire PSP 3000 before reshelling, just to ensure that everything worked, but there is one key factor that I missed during this test that I will bring up later in the video. But it is integral that you test your PSP before reshelling it in case you need to replace any of the parts, and the replacements aren't too difficult. And please note that the PSP 1000, 2000, and 3000 all have slightly different reshells, along with the PSP 1000 is a bit thicker than the 3000 and has more screen modding capabilities than the 3000, so only use this tutorial for your 3000. I will make an updated PSP 1000 reshell tutorial in the future. My PSP didn't come with a back battery cover, so I'm just moving forward with removing the battery, but yours will probably have a back battery cover, so just pop it open. With that battery removed, we're going to peel up the bottom sticker out of the battery compartment. Referencing the Repair Layers video off camera again and inserting a screenshot from it, I'm going to be removing these 4 screws from the back, 2 of which are located inside the battery compartment, and that's why you needed to remove the bottom half of that sticker. And the other 2 screws are just across the way. And since I'm a beginner and still pretty new to this, I'm writing down little labels on sticky notes to keep track of what parts and pieces go where. It's not cheating to do this, it's just how my brain works, and later on as the project gets messier, it definitely comes in handy. Inserting 2 more screenshots from the Repair Layers video, I'm removing the bottom 2 screws and the top 1 screw and setting them aside with my initial 4 screws. After removing your 7 main exterior screws, you should be able to very gently wiggle and remove the faceplate off of your screen, but be very gentle and try to keep that foam lining around your screen intact as it keeps dust out of your screen. Your home buttons row will have clips on each side that you need to unclip, unless you're like me and realize that one side of your clips is broken and already unclipped. After it's unclipped and loosened, you remove the metal spacer from the top of your screen. With the metal spacer out, you're going to be able to very gently lift the screen. Do not pull it off. There are 2 ribbon cables holding it into place, which you're going to have to flip the gray locking tabs and unlock them. After your ribbon cables are unlocked from the motherboard, you can wiggle them really gently and they should slide out of their housings. And same goes for your home button row and your microphone. I just lost the footage of me unlocking them and clicking them out, but it's exactly the same. Now we're going to move forward with removing these 7 internal screws. Not to get mixed up with the 7 external screws that we removed earlier, I end up setting them aside so I don't mix them up. And it's at this point I'm realizing something about this PSP that I'm not liking. Yeah, there's no screw here. And this is just the beginning of the many things that this PSP 3000 is missing from the original owner. So just bear with me while I remove this.
Did someone put this part previously?
The answer is most definitely yes, but at this point we're still a little bit in denial because the eBay listing never said that. With the screws out, we're going to remove our shoulder button retainers at the top here, making sure we're putting them somewhere safe and that we won't lose them because we will need them later, along with the shoulder buttons. They just pop out super easy. Next, we're removing our power switch PCB. It's the same exact flex connector style as the screen was before. You just flip the tab and you should be able to wiggle and remove it. Honestly, the majority of this project is just unhooking flex connectors like this. But this is one connection that is not a flex connector connection. It is the charging port, and we just remove it by wiggling it out of its bottom housing area and then giving it a good pull or push. You could pull it with some tweezers. I'm using this little poker tool to kind of push it out of its shell, but there is no little tab like the flex connectors, so it's super easy. Just be sure you don't pull too hard on the cables. You don't want to snap them. And then you just pop the speaker out, literally. Next, we're going to disconnect the action button ribbon by disconnecting the flex cable on the motherboard and slowly and gently peeling up the adhesive on the ribbon so you're not damaging any of the cables inside. It should be able to completely peel up, including the little button on top, so be super sure not to break it. Underneath that is your Wi-Fi cable that you're gonna disconnect. What the? I don't have a Wi-Fi chipset at all, which I guess is okay because a lot of the games I wanted to play on this PSP don't require the internet at all, and I don't know what all is still supported in our modern age of 2025 on a PSP for Wi-Fi capabilities, so I'm just gonna move forward with the build without the Wi-Fi chipset, and if I really do want one in the future, they're really cheap to buy and just put back in. Let's keep going. I'll insert the timestamp of what he does with it so you can catch up with his video. To remove the D-pad, you're gonna disconnect the flex cable from the D-pad to the motherboard, holding it in place, and put some kind of pokey tool or tweezers up underneath the D-pad to kind of loosen it and wiggle it out of its housing on the motherboard, being very careful not to break the button at the top. At this point, you should be able to move the analog stick out a little bit and disconnect it completely from the motherboard. To free the motherboard, you have to remove this silver trim around the PSP, and since my PSP was so old, it was very brittle and easy to break. Oh, I just broke that off. It's okay. We're not going to be using this part anyways. Luckily, my aftermarket shell came with new ones, so it was okay. To remove your motherboard from the UMD drive, you're going to disconnect these two flex cables. The largest one being slightly different than our usual flex cables as it has a side toggle to release it from its housing. Now listen to me talk about this motherboard like I'm a man who just caught a big fish. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. Beautiful, beautiful. To remove the motherboard, you just lift it at an angle and wiggle it back and forth until it eventually comes out of its housing. We're going to be removing this little metal shielding that is held in place by none other than another missing screw. So I inserted a little screenshot from the Repair Layers video on where that screw is supposed to be located, but I didn't have it. And you know what else I didn't have? A UMD tray. Come on! Not having a UMD tray really drastically changes the process of which I remove this door, so I'm inserting the exact time frame of which the repair layer removes his UMD door, so it can be more accurate to your guys' process of removing this back door, but for me, I got it done in 2 swift unlatchings because I didn't have to worry about that UMD tray. Now I know you guys are wondering, am I going to replace it? Am I not? Realistically, I plan to emulate games on this, so I don't necessarily need the UMD tray for that, but in the future I probably will end up adding one, just not today. I'm feeling lazy, I don't need it, I can just keep moving forward like the Wi-Fi chipset. Next we're gonna remove the Wi-Fi antenna. Oh wait, we don't have that. And as you can tell, the frustrations with this project are already beginning to boil. Unscrewing these 4 internal screws, you're gonna wanna try to make sure that you don't lose any of the rubber bushings surrounding the screw holes. For me, some of them came out on the screw and that was fine, I just kept them together. But one of which was so deteriorated with age that it ended up kind of ripping. I ended up just keeping it and putting the ripped bushing back in when I reshelled, and I didn't shouldn't really have any issues because of it. Just make sure you don't lose whatever you're able to salvage. It's becoming more and more apparent that all of the components in this PSP have a surface level of grime, including but not limited to, look at this analog stick. That thing is nasty. I'm giving everything a nice little wipe down and clean up, and I'm able to pop the top off of the analog stick and replace it with our pink one now. It just looks so much nicer and cleaner. With the 4 screws gone, there's nothing holding your UMD drive down anymore, so you should be able to just pry it up and lift it out. We're missing a little bit of footage here, but we're gonna remove the UMD door retainer and the spring behind it that holds it in place, the silver trim lining, and those 2 little silver screw mounts. We're finally ready to start moving on to the fun part, which is putting everything into this pink shell. We're leaving the external plastic on as a precautionary measure while we work. I made slits in the external plastic so I could remove the back door while still keeping it on. The repairer speaks expansively on the importance of using as many of the original pieces from the original shell as you can, because these aftermarket shells can be of much lower quality. But in my project, I'm missing so many parts, pieces, screws that I'm just gonna have to do a mix of some of the old pieces and some of the new pieces. The first thing we're gonna be putting in this new shell is the screw mounts along the bottom. They just slide into their little holders like so, making sure the lip of the screw mounts is facing down. Next, we're putting the sliding retainer mechanism back in with its original spring. My footage is kind of bad because my hand's in the way, so here's the timestamp of him doing it. We're gonna push the 4 rubber spacers back into their holes on the UMD drive, and then place the UMD drive inside of the shell, making sure that we pull through the ribbon and flex cables into their designated spots on the other side. Reusing the 4 original screws, we're gonna screw that UMD drive down into the shell. Right now, I should be removing the adhesive off of the Wi-Fi antenna and applying a thin layer of double-sided tape to reinstall it, but a girl doesn't have a Wi-Fi antenna, so we're just moving on. Even better, the next step is to install the UMD tray that I don't fucking have. I don't have it, so I'm just gonna pop this back door in like so. It is a little jankety, but of course inserting the timestamp of how he installs his UMD tray, because I don't have one. At the very least, I'm able to put this door spring and door spring retainer back into its original place by sliding it into the hole made for it in the housing. Using a new screw that came with my pink shell, I'm going to be able to reinstall this metal shielding, as I didn't have a screw for it originally and it was kind of just sitting in the black housing of the old shell. Next, we're going to put in our new pink analog stick by just putting it in its housing and securing it with a screw. You can't plug it in yet because there's no motherboard, but we're about to change that. Starting with removing the silver trim on your new shell, and this silver trim is actually a lot stronger and more sturdy than the old trim that was just brittle and crumbled, so that's a good sign. To reinstall the motherboard, we're going to go in at an angle, seating the USB hub in its little spot, but we're not going to push it down all the way as there's 3 flex cables underneath that we need to pull out before we push it all the way down into its spot. With the motherboard fully seated in its spot, we're going to go in and put the silver trim back on, starting with the right side. It should all click back into place like so. We're going to reconnect 3 flex cables, 2 of which are from the UMD drive, noting that the biggest one is the one with the side toggles, and then the smaller one is from the analog stick. You just slide them into their housings and lock down their locking tabs. Off camera, I follow the repairer's guide on how to graft the new memory stick cover to the old rubber retainer from the original PSP because it works better. So here's the timestamp for that. Let's fit the D-pad into the housing of the shelf for it, connecting the D-pad flex connector to the motherboard. Also verifying that your memory stick slot can open and close freely and nothing's getting caught. Remember when I said this project was just a bunch of unplugging and replugging? Now you're gonna plug your power switch PCB to your action button ribbon and then plug it all into your motherboard. Oh yeah, plug in your charger port while you're at it and wedge it back into its original housing spot. Right now is an actual opportune time for me to test and make sure all of my buttons are plugged in correctly, my speakers work, my screen works. So I'm gonna plug my screen back into my motherboard and then plug in my PSP's charger to see if it powers up correctly. And as I have it, I don't have a UMD tray, so I'm not going to be able to test that, but I tested all my buttons to make sure that they were at the very least responsive, even if they don't have their covers on. My audio was working, and I thought at the time my screen looked decent and that we were good to keep moving along with this project. So that's exactly what I did. And this is what I mentioned previously, my charger port. Those black wires are supposed to go underneath that action button ribbon cable thing. The guy messed it up too. I wasn't the only one. I should be connecting the Wi-Fi antenna cable right now, but we all know I do not have that. So I'm just moving forward with the shoulder buttons, sticking the shoulder action button ribbons down onto the housing, popping the shoulder buttons back in, along with their plastic retainer that holds those buttons in place. By your action button ribbon, there should be a perfect slot for you to install your speaker into. The top tab slides directly in, and the bottom tab slides underneath the clip. Moving forward with installing the home button row, you're just going to slide the flex connectors into their housings and lock them before we move on to the next step. Gently pull the home button row out of the way so you can reconnect the screen, and then lay the screen back down. We clipped in the home button row with the one remaining clip it had because the other one was broken, and now I'm going in putting in the buttons and the D-pad into the top half of this PSP along with the rubber membrane that holds it in. And a way to get your home button row buttons to stay in place while you're holding it is to put some tape along the front portion of your shell, holding the buttons in from the outside. It just makes it a lot easier for you to do one test fitting, make sure everything fits in place, there's nothing poking out causing any issues. And then you're gonna clean your screen, and you're gonna clean it, and you're gonna clean it some more, and then you're gonna dust it, and then you're gonna go in with a microfiber, and then you're gonna clean it again. And when you think it's finally clean, you're gonna clean it one more time, just to ensure that there's no dust on that lovely screen of yours that most definitely is working and isn't having any issues, right? You finally peel off that internal plastic, you get it lined up and clocked in, you are ready to go and start screwing in your 7 external screws that started it all, baby. And as you're screwing in those final external screws, your internal monologue is going haywire with, damn, this has been a clusterfuck of a project the entire time through and through, and man, I'm gonna make a bad review on somebody's eBay page after I'm finished with this. But also, you're getting closer and closer to that finish line. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. This project has drawn you through the water. It cannot get worse than it already has been, right? You're raging with excitement as you plug in this battery pack and cover. And has video quality always looked this bad since like 2006? Nah, let's not think about that. You're 7 hours into a YouTube video, feeling tired, cranky, and ready to peel off this external film that you left on at the beginning as a precautionary measure. And oh my gosh, guys, this pastel pink is so pearlescent. It is beautiful. I really love this shell, and I'm really happy how it turned out. In no way, shape, or form would I have been able to afford the original pink PSP 3000. They are so expensive now. And I'm just so happy that this works so good and so great and looks great. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. That screen does not look great. That screen actually looks fucking terrible. And I didn't know it looked fucking terrible at the time. I just kind of assumed it was 2006, you know? Screens were kind of rough back then. But then my husband reshelled the PSP 3000 and I begrudgingly realized something. Why does my screen look like that? It looks like it has the slightest, tiniest little crawling ants across it. It's got kind of an array of pink and green stripes across the screen that was giving me headaches while I was playing, but I just thought that was normal and it just looked like a CRTV. So I got a replacement screen, took my entire PSP apart again, and replaced the screen. And you would think that would solve this solution, right? So I took out the original screen and I placed the replacement screen back in, closed her up, and okay guys, how did it get worse? How did it get worse? How did it get worse? This is a different screen. How did it get worse? How did it get worse? You know what? I don't even know. So I sent that screen back. So I got a second replacement screen. And I was really excited for the second replacement screen. Oh, fuck. This is going terrible. So third replacement screen? Anybody? Yeah, I went through 3 fucking replacement screens, all with arrays of different abnormalities or brokenness, all different sellers. Super great time. Buy the 4th screen. 4th time's the luck, I guess. We actually got one very nice, very well functioning screen, but yes, I am reusing footage I took when the screen was poopy the first time because I'm tired. Y'all will see the updated screen in a sec.
And now for the true test, I have Brandon's here and mine as well. Let's compare the screens because I did not see my stripy screen issue until I compared it to Brandon's initially. So let me turn these on. Hold on, I fell asleep playing Silent Hill, so I'm gonna save real quick. Oh, absolutely, that's fixed. Brandon's background is the white background, so it's gonna look a little bit brighter because I have a pink background on mine. And now the screens are very comparable to each other. I can play my game so much better. I was getting headaches from playing it with the weird screen detail that was going on. And now I do not see that anymore. I can play my game so much better. My screen is so much brighter. This project has really taught me that you can run into every road bump in the road and there will still be another one on the other side. And to maybe not trust Amazon reviews on PSP 3000 screens, but you guys know I already have literally another PSP 1000 that I will be reshelling soon, so I probably have to replace the screen for that one too and go through this entire nightmare again. But for that one, I was going to replace the screen anyways. With PSP 1000s, you can replace it for an IPS screen, which just works overall better than the PSP 3000 screen. So I'm pretty excited to see what that looks like. My PSP is cute. I made this little charmy doodad for it. Tech is not always going to be your friend, and it is what it is. You live and you learn. Not every project's gonna come to you easy. And honestly, as exhausting emotionally, physically, well-beingly, this project was for me. It does just encourage me to keep working on my skills and honing in on my skills to keep repairing more devices and reshelling them, I guess. I don't know, I have a lot of fun doing this. I really do enjoy it, even if it sucks sometimes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys can get some substance out of it. Like, I still hope that you guys get the general idea of how to reshell your PSP 3000. It really isn't as hard as I made it in this video, having so many issues from the original owner really trashing the inside of this PSP 3000 and me having to go back and fix that. Now, is she perfect? No. Does she have a Wi-Fi chipset board thing? Absolutely not. Does she have a UMD tray? Also no. She's cute, she's workable, she's good, she's got lots of fun games on it. I love the portability. It looks good. I love playing games on it. I like it a lot. I hope you guys could take away some substance from this video, as it's just the reality. Like, not every project's gonna go super smoothly like others have in the past. I mean, I should have learned from this guy. I will link everything that I used as a resource. There is one video that just is immaculate. This guy is amazing. I followed his tutorial. It is very thorough, and he doesn't run into as many hiccups as I did. So I will link that down below if you guys are confused on what to do. I recommend his video more. Sorry guys, my throat hurts. This project has made me a little delirious, and I'm gonna go huddle up on the couch with my 3 cats and play more Silent Hill's Shattered Memories. And tell me why Shattered Memories is so much better and easier to control on the PSP 3000 than it was on the Wii when I played it on the Wii. Don't play it on the Wii. I'm just gonna give you guys that preface now. It feels like a waste of time because the Wii controls are shit. So play it on the PSP 3000. That's all I gotta say. This video has been chaotic. Love you guys. Bye. Unrelated life update. I did go to the ER and have $400 worth of x-rays taken because I inhaled my nose piercing, and you guys would think that that would scare me away from ever having nose piercings ever again, but nope. Once I got home, I put that back in because I paid good money for my nose piercing. Like, I'm not gonna let it go to waste like that. I got the most expensive piercing in the world, a $400 piercing. It's actually an extraction, and they extracted a piercing out of my nasal hole. I'm very lucky it didn't go into my sinuses, or it'd be a lot harder to remove. It was up here, hanging out by my sinus, to where I could not reach it. Nobody could reach it except for a doctor with forceps. I felt like a little kid when they stick a Lego up their nose. But I'm lucky I didn't breathe it in, or I would have had to have it surgically removed, and that would have been a lot more expensive. So that's where I'm left off. Don't inhale your nose piercing.